You are live now. Okay, I'm live now. Thanks to my team, I'm live now. Thank you guys for jumping on here. Okay, so here we go. Now we ready to go. So again, good afternoon, Elaine Proby, CEO of PROBY'S Tax and Accounting. Welcome to our live broadcast. Today, of course, we want to talk about is your home an asset? I know a lot of people are going to be interested in this topic. Hi, Tama Zero. How are you doing? Thanks for jumping on. All right, so we're going to not make this too complicated today, guys. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because a lot of people out there is a little confused about whether or not they should buy a home. I know some people already own homes and some people are interested in buying homes. And so, if you guys are on here and any of you guys are interested in buying a home, you guys, put that in the comments below so we know that you're one of those people that we really need to focus on. So anyway, we're going to talk about whether or not your home is an asset today, guys, because there's been a lot of things going around out there for years about whether or not your home is an asset and, whether or not you should buy a home, right? Now, I know one of the first recommendations, especially from a tax perspective, that a lot of clients and a lot of people would tell you, or a lot of, financial advisors will let you know that the first thing you might want to invest in, if you don't already own a home, you want to invest in a home, right? So if they tell you to invest in a home, you're thinking, okay, it's got to be some real reason why I should be doing this. And again, why would some other folks out there would be saying that your home is not an asset? So it's a little confusing. So I want to attempt to clarify that a little bit, so I give you an idea of whether or not you should do this. Just get a home, right? There's lots of reasons. So let's define what is an asset, guys. Let's talk about what an asset is. And an asset is a resource or something that you purchase of economic value, right? That's going to have some future benefit to you. So, you hear talks about, you can buy this very expensive car. You drove it off the lot, and of course it's depreciated, and then you no longer value anything. So you want to not spend money on stuff that depreciated really fast. You want to obviously buy stuff that's going to be of value, that's going to appreciate, so that later on it will become more value to you. Okay, so that's really what an asset is. You want to purchase items that will have future value. Okay, so that's what an asset is. And so we're going to talk about how your home fits into this, and then we'll talk about other type of assets that can give you cash flow, generating cash flow, which is, we are all interested in generating cash flow on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis. So we'll talk about cash flow assets, and we'll talk about how understanding why some people believe that your home is not an asset. And I don't want to discourage anyone from buying a home. I will give you the pros and cons and let you know how that looks. Okay. So once again, I want to welcome you guys on here. Let's jump right into this. Like I said, the asset is a resource of some product or something of economic value that you buy. And it could be a house, and it could be any other type of equipment. It could be, other type of stuff that you invest money in. But then the whole point of it is for it to have some future value. So that's the first point today. Now let's talk about the second point. This is defining asset with cash flow. So what you want to do is you want to invest money in assets that's going to give you cash flow, right? That's what we want. We want to have monthly cash flow. We all love to just sit back and have money just going into a bank account. That is like a perfect situation. So we want to invest in assets that will give us cash flow. From a wealth perspective, this is the most ideal situation, right? You wake up in the morning, there's money in the bank. So this is what you want to invest in. And so certain types of assets that will give you cash flow, for instance, is having rental real estate. And this is one of the things most of the real estate investors is what they talked about, rental real estate, right? If you have a positive cash flow from your rental real estate, you have a piece of real estate and the rents that you're collecting exceeds your mortgage payment, that's what's considered a positive cash flow. And this is the most beautiful situation, of course, because then you don't have to do anything to the property more so than keeping it up, make sure that everything is in order, and you will have positive cash flow from those rents after you pay the mortgage. That's one of the main assets that will give you cash flow. Another type of asset that will give you cash flow is like buying stocks. If you have money invested in stocks, if the stocks is doing great, of course, you get dividends, guys. This money just get deposited into your account or maybe reinvested. So those are considered positive cash flow assets. And one of the biggest thing, which is what we advocate for, is having a business, right? Start a business. And you, of course, you're going to do all the stuff that make it very successful, because that's what we go in business. Every business can be successful. It's what you do and how you operate that business as to how much success that you can get from that business, right? The saying says, whatever you put in it is what you're going to get out. And it is a true saying, guys. If you invest enough time in the business, you can be successful at it. So positive cash flow from a business, right? Make it very successful. It will make you money. It will make you money for sure, right? And other type of investments that you can invest in that will make you money. So these are assets that will bring you positive cash flow. And that is what we all are striving to have, right? So the point is, you don't want to invest in anything that will become a liability to you later on. And this is why you got to stay on top of this stuff, because if you invest money somewhere and it's not bringing you any type of income, any type of positive cash flow, you want to think about that. You want to move your money, and you want to make sure that it gets into the right place. Hi, Lorna. Thanks for jumping on. Yes, money in your bank. What's that? Money in your bank. What's your question? Yes, money in your bank while you sleep. Yes, money in your bank while you sleep. Yes. And so that's the whole idea. I remember, and I'm glad you said that, because guys, I'm gonna give you a quick little story. I remember years ago, I used to stay up late at night and look at this infomercial. And then I saw an infomercial with this guy on there talking about, you can just have the tiny ads all over the place, and you could sell something, and then just money in your bank, money in your bank, money in your bank, right? So I'm thinking, well, that sounds really good. What is that all about? So I started listening to him every night, and found out that if you have a product, if you have something that you can sell, right? So I said, oh, let me get a little book or some kind of how to do. And if you sell something for $1 or $2 or $5, and he was saying at that time, now it wasn't like online, you can do all this stuff like you do now, right? So he was like, you place these tiny little ads in newspapers. You don't have to pay for big advertisement. Just put tiny little ads in newspapers all over the country, and people will order your book or whatever it is that you're selling, $2.99, $5.99, $6.99, and all you do is ship that stuff out, and money in the bank, money in the bank, money in the bank. So when you said that, Lorna, I remember that, the tiny little ads all over the place selling a product. But back to the point, yeah, you want to have a positive cash flow, and you want to put it in investment and assets that will bring that to you, okay? So that brings me to my third point. Hi, Andy. Thanks for jumping on. Klaus for Pops. Thanks for jumping on here. That brings me to the third point, and the point that we really want to drive home today is understanding your home as an asset, right? Understand your home as an asset. So, guys, I'm going to tell you this. There's two ways to look at this, right? Your home could be an asset, and it could be a liability at the same time. And everybody's confused about that. And you have major, like I said, real estate financier that says your home is a liability and it's not an asset. In most cases, it could be an asset. This is what happens. Most people buy a home and they have a mortgage on it, right? So if the home is, let's say you buy a home for $500,000, you have a mortgage on that house, you may put down, $20,000, $30,000 on it. But because you have a mortgage on that house, okay, so there's a liability there. The difference between what the house is worth, and like I said, you buy something that has future value. So everybody looks at the fact that the home is going to have equity in there. So there's some future value to this house. So you look at the equity, and let's say in a year or two, the house is worth $600,000. You owe the bank $500,000. So you figure, well, I have $100,000 worth of equity in my house. So this is major value. This is an asset. This is great, right? So the thing about that is that equity can fluctuate back and forth. If the market taint, I've seen, and everybody who knows about the real estate market, it goes up and it goes down. And the real estate market can go down to the point where you have no equity in your property. It can really, and at some point it have done that several times when it crashed. The house is worth less, more than what, the house is worth less than what you owe. That's what I'm going to say. The house is worth less than what you owe. So in that case, you wind up owing more money on that home than you really could get if you sell it. Okay. So let's see. Elsie Moody. What is that? Elsie Moody. Laughing. Bless you. My name is Elsie Moody, and I am responding to you. Said I haven't since I haven't seen my check. Okay, this is a long one, guys. I have to read what this is all saying. I'm thinking that's what to get that. Okay, I'm gonna have to read this later. This is a long one up there. Elsie, I'm gonna have to get back to that and see what that is saying. And so we could talk about that later. But okay, so yeah, so what I was saying is the home can be worth less than what you really owe on it. So you have to be careful with that. And that's in one case where it's definitely not an asset anymore, it becomes a liability. Another instance for that is, guys, why it would be a liability. When you buy a home, just be careful of the mortgage that you are getting on that house, simply because if you purchase something that is so expensive to where the mortgage is so much that you are actually only working to pay that mortgage, the mortgage now becomes a liability to you, because it's, it doesn't come easy. You have to find out how you're going to pay this mortgage on a regular basis. And so so yeah, so it becomes a liability at that point in time. Hi Jimmy, thanks for jumping on. Hey, so yeah, so your home could become a liability at that point. So you are, first of all, you want to make sure that you don't buy anything that's overly costly. Something that is going to, you have to work really hard, or maybe two jobs sometimes to pay the mortgage. That doesn't make any sense. And then what happens is, if you do have a home and you keep it long enough for it to have equity in it, this is what happens. Now you don't sell the house because what? You are attached. You have sentimental value to that house. Some people think I'll buy a house, I'll get equity in it, and I'll sell it later, and I'll have all this money. For the most part, that never happens. Money's tied up in the house. You don't have any cash flow out of the house. And what happens is you have such sentimental value to that home that most people will never sell the house. So some people buy it so that they can have it for investment for their future retirement. That never happens. You're thinking that you're going to pull cash out of it to invest elsewhere. And when you do that, of course, your mortgage becomes more expensive, and it might be a little bit more difficult for you to pay that mortgage. So that might not be the greatest idea, guys. So this home being an asset, it can go either way. It could be an asset or it could be a liability, and all depends on how you, how much money you spend on it and how you invest money in it, and the point of taking money out of it. You always have to be careful, because the mortgage is too high. You're going to have a hard time even pulling the mortgage out and paying it. Okay, so that's one of the things why they claim that the house could be an asset or it could be a liability to you guys. But all in all, don't be discouraged from buying a home for tax purposes. It's one of the greatest things, because you get those write-offs, you pay less taxes. But in terms of building wealth, building assets, you want to invest in asset that will bring you cash flow. Okay, you want to invest in asset that will bring you monthly cash flow. So all right, guys, so let me go back over these 3 points. Let's see how long-term investment. Okay, it has to be a long-term investment. That's what it is. A house is a long-term investment. And so if we sell it and later on, when it goes a lot of equity in there, I've seen homes that have millions of dollars worth of equity in there, and most of the owners of those properties are cash poor. They are cash poor. They can't even pay the property taxes on those properties. All right, so let's go back over the 3-point guide. Is your home an asset? One of the first point is, defining what an asset is. Again, is something of value that you can provide future benefit on. The second point today, guys, is defining the cash flow assets, which is the one we love the most. Investment in real estate, rental real estate, which is great. More rent than you pay in a mortgage. Invest in stocks, you can get dividend, and a business that you can become very successful at, that will give you extra cash flow, and any other type of investment that will do that. That's the second point. And third is understanding your home as an asset. So if you think that your house is an asset when you buy it, a lot of times it could be upside down, meaning you could owe more than it's worth. It's long term. If there's equity in there, and for the most part, you don't get any cash out of it. And for the most part, who sells it at the end, right? Who sells a home? Okay, so that's my 3 point today, guys. Is a home an asset? Again, this is a very confused and mixed information on the internet. If you're looking this up, one person will say one thing, another person will say another. But there are benefits in it. You got to pay to live somewhere. and you're either going to pay somebody else's rent or you pay yourself rent. That's what it's all about. Okay. So with that said, guys, put your comments here in the at the bottom of the screen. I'll come back through here and check them out, respond to those. Again, we're here every Tuesday and Thursday. And if you guys have any particular topic that you might want to hear, we're doing this so that you can educate yourself. You can become more aware of your financial situation and become more wealthy. Once you know, right? You can't do what you don't know. So once you know this stuff, you can do much better at it. Join us here every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll give you all some more updated information. With that said, guys, I want to remind you guys that tax deadline is coming up here on May 17th. So make sure that you get your taxes in. For those of you who haven't filed yet, you have to May 17th. If you're not going to be ready to file, make sure that you ask for an extension. Again, here at PROBY'S Tax and Accounting Services, we're here to service your needs in terms of your tax or accounting or payroll, financial consultation, all that good stuff we provide here in this office for over 35 years on Crenshaw Boulevard. Okay, so you guys can reach us at 323-290-9034 or visit our website at probiztax.com. All right. With that said, guys, I'm out of here until next week. I want you guys to take care of each other and take care of yourself. See you later. Bye-bye.